Hey everybody, it's Hubby here with Just About Anything Garage. What do you say we get the saddle on Big Bertha fixed? Let's crawl under here and get this puppy started. Alright, so hang on and we'll jump right into it. Alright, so we're back at it. We're underneath Big Bertha here. Let me show you. Got you on the stand. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit this. We've been soaking it. We're going to hit it with the wire brush, see if we can't knock some of the high stuff down. And I'm going to take my impact wrench if I can and see if it'll turn off and come off. Because what we want to try and do is we're going to do this side first, get this off, and get a good look at it to see if it can be repaired. I don't think so. I think it's kind of a cast or a pot metal, and I don't think it's going to weld very well. But we'll take a look at it, clean it up, and see what maybe we can do with it. And from there, we'll I've got a couple calls in to see if we can't find this from a parts, because there's people who go ahead and part these out. So I've got a couple calls in to see if we can do that. So let's go ahead and set you guys up, see if you guys can potentially see what I'm doing here. Let's see, let me put my finger up here so I can see where I'm pointing at. And got you guys about as cranked back as I can get you. So hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on here a little bit. All right, now let's see if we can use the impact, see if that'll turn off. They're pitted, but they might be able to be cleaned up and reused, which I'd love to do given the cost of them, but we'll see what happens here. Let's see, bigger than that. What are we looking at here? Bigger than that. I have to go to my 3/4 inch drive set, which is unfortunate because I don't have any. Okay, there we go. We got it. Good. All right, let's see what happens if we use the good old impact driver. See if we can't get that off. All right. Here we go. Certainly is loud enough. It's loosened it. You can see here, well, because it's been turned off of that. I'm not sure that's going to go though. But this may take some heat. We may have to heat it. Let's get, seems how that's separated for us. Let's put some more stuff here. I don't want it ripping my brake line off either. Let that sit for a minute and do its thing. I'm going to reverse this to hit it just a couple whacks on, because sometimes it'll break loose if you go to tighten it just a tad. Like that. It'll break the galvanic bond on that rust connection, and we'll come back off. No, you got to go that way and see what happens. Nope, not really interested. All right, I think we're going to have to break the torch out. I'll tell you what, let's let this soak a little bit with this in it, with the blaster. And then we'll come back to that and we'll see if we can't break that sucker loose. We'll hit it with some heat and see if it won't break free. If we can get that one to break free, then we'll make an attempt on the other one. We have to Well, if we can get this swapped out or replaced, we don't have to cut these. We don't have to touch over onto the other side over here, which would be really great. So let's go ahead and take the time. Let's go ahead and see if that will loosen up for us. I'll get the torch ready, and we'll put some heat on it and see if it'll break free. I don't know if it will. So hang on, and we'll be right back with that action as soon as we give that a little time to soak in. I know what you're thinking. Why aren't you using your big torch? Well, because you get it too hot. I mean, you don't want to fatigue the metal or anything. You just want to get it hot enough to break the galvanic bond and to make the nut just a little bit bigger. Because that's what the heat does, is it breaks down that galvanic bond between the two metals. And makes that nut just expand a little bit. If I had an induction one, I'd use that and get it really hot, and it would probably come right off, but those are expensive. Someday, they're pretty handy. Get on this side a little bit. Trying not to boil the brake line. I got Crazy Train in my brain from Ozzy Osbourne for some reason. I don't know. Nice little earwig. Alright, let's see what that does. See if it... Where's my impact gun? Really? Where'd I put that sucker? Oh, hiding behind the torch. Alright. Let's see what we can do here, if anything. Nada! Oh my goodness, that is on there. Let's try and tighten it just a little. That is like, he's not interested at all at coming off. Let's put a little bit more juice in it. Let it. See if it'll wick up. Get in now. So another trick you can use too is to heat the nut, and if I have a candle wax, you can get candle wax up in there by letting it sit, you know, wick up. It'll wick up to the heat. We'll heat it some more. Let's try that. try an on-off action, huh? On. Off. On. Off. On. Off. Man, definitely shaking the dust out of it, that's for sure. And these might actually move. Yeah, those are moving. Let's see if we can get some of this down in there. See if it'll work its way in there. We got the washers loose. And I have to go to a big torque, my 3/4. I got a 3/4 set. What size is this? You may have to shift to that. It's 1 1/16. Heat it some more, give it another shot. If she doesn't break free, well, then we'll try soaking it a little bit more, bring out the big guns, and see if she'll break free with a big breaker on a 3/4 drive. One more time with feeling. Come on, get up there. She's starting to come. Aha! Getting her. Get on there. Look at that. All right. Took a lot, but we got her off. All right, guys. So let me pull this off and get a good look at it. We'll come back. I'll probably pull the rest off camera. Once you've seen one come off, you've seen them all. If anything gets unusual, I'll let you know, and we'll bring you in. All right? So we'll see you in just a little bit with the results. Okay, there we go. They're off. Other side came off just like the first side. Little heat, little working back and forth, and came off. These feel like they're cast. I have to clean them up and see, but I don't think they're going to really be repairable, because I think it cracked. Let's get some light on the subject, huh? I mean, they shine up like they're steel. They might be. I'll have to research and see, but I'm not sure you can do a butt weld on these and have it, you know, I mean, the penetration you'd have to get, and you'd have to match them up, and you'd end up changing the dimensions of the U for the axle seat. So I think we're going to be needing to make one, or see if we can find one. So we are looking for one. We'll continue our search, see if we can't track one down. Yeah, see, it looks like it cracked in the, fits like that, and it's missing a piece. So yeah, if you look at it right there, it's got an awfully big gap where that comes in. Even if we meet the curl, you can see how wide that's gapped. Something happened there. I think these are cast and a piece broke out of it, and that's what it is. So we'll search and see if we can't find a good one. If not, we'll have to come up with a design for one. We'll use steel, and I'll draw something up and we'll show you guys. But that's where we're at with that. We got that one off. We're not going to pull any more off until we find a replacement, or we figure out how to make one, and then we'll pull the others off, because those U-bolts need to be replaced. I'm just going to have to suck it up and do it, because up above where the bolt is, where the inside diameter of this was sitting, you can see that the bolt is decayed there. It's thinned out considerably, so we're going to need to replace those. So that's where we're at. We'll be back as soon as we figure things out a little bit more. Burr, it is chilly. I'm sitting in the car, I'm getting ready to take off to go take a look at a 1970 F600 truck. It's got no motor, it's got no trans. The reason for it is it's got parts. It is parts for the for Big Bertha, right? Because we're redoing her. So we're gonna go take a look at that. I'm gonna bring you guys along. There's nothing particularly interesting on the drive, so I will let you know when we get there. And if the gentleman owns it's okay with it, we'll film our thing doing it. If not, I'll get some film on the truck itself, and we'll see if she'll fit the bill. Anyways, that's where we're heading, so hang tight and we'll be back. Run the camera over this just a little bit. And so I'm out here with the truck. It'll make a good parts vehicle for Big Bertha. Piece of cake. I mean, it's got the shackles right there. It looks like its U-bolts are better than my U-bolts. Doing a lot of filming here just so I can remember what it looks like. But we're out here in rural Massachusetts. You know, I was born and raised in rural Massachusetts, so I know the area well. I'm probably like 20 minutes from, no, probably 40 minutes from where I grew up. See the interior. I mean, it's got all the, you know, if you need to replace those switches and all that type of stuff, it's a little bit pricey, so we're going to have to work on that in terms of if we decide to do this. But it'll do what we want it to do, which is be a good parts vehicle for Bertha. So good windshield and everything. All right, so we'll get back to you. Dang, it's cold. So we negotiate $1,000 for it. I'm gonna go figure out how to move it. If not, he's got a big gooseneck trailer, he says, and he'll pull it for me. So we're only like 35, 40 minutes away, so he's willing to do that. So we're gonna go figure this out and see if we can't give this thing a new home. So we'll get back to you guys and let you know where that is, and that's part of the Big Bertha revive. All right, so I'm gonna head back. We'll catch you guys a little bit later. Burr, chilly in the shop, but warmer than it has been the last couple days. Okay, so we're back on Big Bertha here, right? We're doing Big Bertha, and we saw that we had the broken saddle. So here's the broken saddle with that. Now, we did find a parts truck, which we are getting. We should have it in about a week, but in the meantime, we're going to make an attempt at trying to repair the saddle. The saddle is cast. So here's what we're going to do to try and repair this. I've got this set up in a little fixture I made. It's just a piece of aluminum, and it's got 2 bolts in it, as you can see here, that goes through the saddle shafts. And what we're trying to do is just get it up, align it enough, tighten these down so we get the right angle. We can close it up as much as we can. It's still a little gap there, so we'll do some more adjustments on this. We'll push it in and do things like that. But then what we're going to do to try and do the repairs, we're going to take a grinder. We're going to grind across the crack seam with it down to about 3/4 of it, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to get some cast rods for the welder. We're going to use a rod. We're not going to use the wire-fed MIG on this. We're going to use stick on it. And we're going to get a good cast rod on it. We're going to set to about 50 amps or so. And we're going to go in and we'll heat it first. We're using the torch that we have, not the big ass one. We need to get it up to, a couple hundred degrees. So we'll get it up there. We'll get it warm. And then what we're going to do is stick weld. We'll start at this end, and it's going to be a push technique. We'll start there, we'll pull back, we'll push forward, pull back, push forward, pull back, push forward. The same with here. We'll turn it around. Start here, put it in, pull back, push forward, pull back, push forward, pull back, push forward. And we'll fill the first quarter of the gap doing that technique, okay? We're going to let it cool. We'll chip it clean. We'll hit it with a wire brush or we'll hit it with a grinder if we have to clean up a little bit. And then we'll come in at an angle like this, the same angle. We're going to try and grind it at about a 45, right? So that we get a deep V in it, like I'm trying to hold you guys and stick my fingers out. A deep V in it, okay? So it'll be in the V shape. And then we'll come in from this angle and do a stitch back and forth. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And then same on this side. In, out, in, out, in, out. Clean that one up. And if we're not surface welded to the point where we need to be at, that should take us to about half of the gap. And then the last quarter of the gap, what we'll do is a straight down technique where we puddle, 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 puddle. All at right around 50 amps. And what we're trying to do is just fill it as much as we can. We'll back seal the thing. It shouldn't stick to the aluminum when we do it, which is why I made it out of aluminum. And we'll see what we get. Now we're going to have brand new ones because the parts truck that I have good saddles on. So and it's the same year, so we're just going to pull them off. We'll also get another axle. So if we want to, we can check that axle out. If that axle is better, we can pull it. Swap it with this one because remember we got the seal here that we have to deal with. And swap tires because this has got better tires than the other one. But we can do all that type of stuff if we want to do that. If we don't want to, we can go ahead and we can pull this and we can get the seal and do what we can. The issue I have with pulling that is if we I'm hoping we can just reuse the bearings. We don't have to put new bearings in on this side. But if we have to put new bearings in when we do it, the torque spec I think on this, if I remember correctly, is like 400 foot-pounds. You have to torque that to. I don't have anything I can do that with. So I'd have to figure out how to do that. If you use the old bearings, then you got to go to 200 foot-pounds, and that I can probably handle. So we're trying to avoid that if we can. If we can't, well, then we'll get what we need to do to torque those bearings down. But anyways, that's where we're at. I got to go get some cast rod. Once I have the cast rod, we'll come back. We'll grind this out. I'll show you that. I'll show you it welding up. We'll see what we get. Seems how this one could be sacrificial. We'll try and repair it so we have it in reserve. But in the meantime, we'll work out a little bit on our technique. All right, so we'll be back in a little bit. All right, we're back at it. As you can hear the drone of the heater, let me turn it off so that we can talk. Ooh. All right, so what we've got done here is we've got the saddle set up, okay? And what we're doing is we hit it with a wire brush real quick just to knock off the loose stuff. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the grinder I have right here. We're gonna grind here and we're gonna get our V slot into that. Once we got a V slot and we're happy with what it's looking like there, we'll go ahead and we'll get the welder set up. I got everything basically set up. I got the electrode, the grounding cable, and we got the rods, okay? And what I'm using is the rigid rods for cast iron Noma cast, and it's a dirty rod. It's for non-clean cast. So we're gonna set the welder once we turn it on at about 75 amps. That's what we're gonna start at, and we'll do a welding and see what we get. So let me set you up on the tripod here, and we'll do a little grinding and see what we can get. And for those concerned with safety, which I am too, I do have, these are magnifying, but they're safety magnifying glasses. So here we go. All right, let's take a look. So we got a nice deep V here. A little bit more angle here than on here, but this crack is opened up. You can see where it's a little bit deeper crack right there than over on this side. Let's get some light on this too. There you go. Should be able to see it. But that should, I mean, it's going to put plenty of material between the saddle cracks and hopefully get deep. Now what we'll do after we do the primary, and we got everything filled up and we're happy with it, is we'll go ahead and flip it over, and we'll do a puddling technique from the top down on the back to see if we can't connect to that weld through the crack down here on the back side to do that, to complete the weld. So let's hit it with the wire brush one more time to make sure that we're still aligned. We feel pretty good, but do a little taps. Make sure that we're aligned. And I might touch up a little bit more here just to open this part up on the inside just a tad bit. And then we'll go from there. We'll fire up the welder and see what we get. Let's turn the slide off, shall we? So we don't burn it out. Touch that up just a little bit more. There we go. Take our trusty hammer, otherwise known as our adjustable crescent wrench. Make sure we're nice and tight. Yeah, so we're good. All right. Take our wire brush, clean it up. All right, so we got a good deep V. Nice and clean. That was cleaned up, that edge right there. So let me go set up the welder and we'll show you what the settings are with that. And then we'll heat this with the welder fired up. So once we get it, well, we don't have to get it to like a ton of heat into it, right? Because the reason for the heating is cast is something that'll crack if it experiences a wide, quick temperature differential. And the reason you heat it isn't so much the cracking as you go to do the welding, because you want to pour heat into it. It's when it's cooling down, the cooling down phase. What the heat does is it spreads it out, because when you weld, it's going to get hot. It'll get hot all the way up, but it's going to have a real high gradient here, and then it's going to really be low. So what we're trying to do is even the gradient up, the heat gradient up, and have it retain some heat so it cools slower, and you can avoid the cracking that happens when you do welding on cast. That's my understanding. So we'll go ahead and we'll get set up, then we'll go ahead and we'll put the torch on it. I'll get my thermal reader out. We'll get it to a couple hundred degrees up. Most say like 700, but I don't have the capabilities to do that other than putting it in front of that super blast heater. And I really don't want to break out the oxyacetylene. That would be way too much. We'll go ahead and we'll heat it with the normal torch, get it up to a couple hundred degrees, see how hot we can get it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do the welds, and we'll see what we get. All right? So hang on, we'll be right back. All right, we're back at it. We already dumped a little bit of heat in it. Let's see what it's still at, just so you guys didn't have to sit on camera 100 hours. We're at about 270 now. Let's bring it up into the 300s. Again, what we're trying to do is make it so it'll cool slower and avoid the cracking of the welds, which is what cast is notorious for. We got everything lined up here. I take the torch off, it'll start to cool. About 500. Let it soak. Welder's on, it's set for 80 amps. Let's move the torch out of the way. Let me go grab my gloves real fast. Have a little bit of hand covering. And put on the mask. The hood. See if it can spark. Nope. There we go. Bring that amperage up. Let's bring that amperage up. We'll dump a little bit more heat in. Let's start at a, let's see. Higher. About 95 amps here. You can go up to 125 amps with this particular rod. Come on. There we go. What we got. A little bit in there. Keep going. That one's quite hard to get. Let's run the wire brush over it. Move you guys over a little bit so you can still see. I'm going to weld up with a wire brush. There we go. Let's see if we can get some sparking going. Turn it up to 100 amps. How's that? Comes some truth. A little bit more heat into it. Get this electrode to strike. Wait, it does not want to strike. it on. All right. Let's let that cool and chip and see what we really got. All right, so let's let that cool. We'll be back in just a little bit. We'll see where we're at. I say, okay, let's talk actually. We grounded down the buildups on the side, exposed the back crack because we knew we were going to have to do that, and opened it up a little bit with a grinder. We may open it up just a tad bit more, and then we'll do a backfill and see if we can't fill this in the back here and get it to go through to the weld on the other side, flow through heat and everything. So let me open that up a little bit more, and we'll heat it with the torch. Make sure it's up to temperature because it has cooled a little bit. Let's put you back on the stand. Touch you down there. Go ahead and open that up just a little. Okay, that's good. Let's dump some more heat into it. Welder's still on, so we should be able to go right in and give that a shot. So we got it warmed up a little bit, see where we get. Right now, get another 100 or so into it. Okay, about 400 or so with the check. And let's see if we can do this again here. Oops, gloves. Gloves, gloves, gloves. Over there. Yeah, let's take it with us. We don't need to weld it to the welding table. Do-do-do. Doo-doo-doo. Really? Be nice. Okay. Ground cable. Stick it right on here. Like that. Right over the electrode so we mix everything up. Alright. Come on, strike. No. Crack. Alright, let's let that cool. Chip it. It's pretty good. Might get a little bit more out of the first one if we need to. All right, we're gonna let that cool, then we're gonna clean it up and we'll take a look and see how well we did. So we'll be back when it's cool. All right, so there we are, cleaned up, smoothed out, not too bad. It looks like we filled the cracks well. I'm not seeing any separation anywhere. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna test fit it. It should fit right in. We might have a little gapping like right in here where it's a little irregular, but it shouldn't really be an issue with it. And then what we'll do is we'll hit it with the wire wheel, clean it up, hit it with a little black paint, preserve it. Let me put this one back on just to see, you know, and crank it up and see if it shows cracks when we crank it down, or if we got the weld good and fixed. Because remember, we've got the parts F600 coming, so it's got good saddles on it, so we can steal those if we have an issue. But not too bad. Looks like it repaired. So let's go ahead and crawl under and just test fit it on the axle. We'll just crawl underneath here. Seems how it's, ouch. I gotta watch out for that. I keep jamming my head into the, ow, that hurt. To the rails for the slide body. Okay, here, right here, let's just pop it up in the proximity, not necessarily where there's, make sure that we still fit from a circular perspective. It's gonna be right in here. How does it sit? Oh man, it's, no, let's see, that's off. It's gonna crack it, because if you look at here, it was off a little bit on the curvature. Looks like it was off on the curvature a little bit here because it's sitting out from it. And I don't think I mean, let's move this out a little bit here. I mean, if I put it up against here, yeah, see, it needs to be flatter. Needed to be flatter. Well, we can put it on and see if it'll tighten down and flatten out, but it'll probably crack that joint when we do that. I could have swore I had that aligned really well. Well, I'm glad we're going to have extra ones coming. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one more segment. Let me see if I can get it on and see if it'll flatten out and if it cracks, just to see how it is. But you can weld cast. I mean, if that was the purpose of this, to show you, I just screwed up and didn't mind my P's and Q's and did not get that flat enough out. Anyways, we'll see what happens. We'll be back in just a few moments. Right, good afternoon. Beautiful day here in Agawam. We're stuck in between cold, wet, rainy, snowy weather and a warm day. Let me show you. It's December 17th here, and we just had snow, and it was and now we got stuff. But we're back on Big Bertha here, and as you saw, we've got the bracketing piece, the saddle for the axle, gone in and fixed, hopefully fixed. We're gonna see once we get it on. What we're trying to do now is get it back on underneath here. So let's go underneath Big Bertha. I'll show you what we got, what we're gonna do here. Ouch, I keep hitting my head on that stupid bracketing for that slide. Anyways, okay, so here we are. This is way out and down, so we had to pull it in and try and pull it forward in this direction here, so that the saddles right here could fit. Now they're not lined yet because they need to sit on this axle. They're off. So what we got to do is, I've got it in enough now that I can tighten the bolts and get some of the bolts on without the washers. We're going to tighten it up just a little bit, get enough thread there for it to hold. Then we're going to have to release the tension here, and believe me, that sucker is under a lot of tension. And reposition it and see if we can't pull it inward in this direction towards the wheel, so that we can get it lined up and then tightened up into place. And the way that we'll do that, of course, is once we get it lined up, we'll go ahead and take one bolt off, slip the washers up on there, tighten that one down, then go ahead and do the other one, because it should keep, you know, the bracket itself, the saddle itself should hold it in there. So let me go ahead and do that, tighten that up a little bit, and we'll come back and we'll show you the results. But I wanted to show you what we were working on today. Seems how you saw that we cast welded it, and it took us 2 tries, but we got it together. So hang tight, we'll be right back. All right, so we're just about there. We just about got her home. She's starting to seat, as you can see up in here. Let me get that camera up in there. It's here. It's not quite seated all the way, and it could be part of the curvature when we made the repair. But what we've been doing is, I got it. First thing we did was we used this yellow strap around this to pull these in, so that they would tighten up when we get the saddle on it. And once it was on there, I got the bolt started, tightened it up a little bit, rearranged the strap like this, and we start cranking it, because what we need to do is pull this one right here this way towards that, so that would you know, sit where it's supposed to sit on the axle where the saddle is here. So once we did that, it started to tighten it up. It would flatten out this, because it was cantered a little bit. It flattened it out, and what we did is I just hit it with a little WD, well, actually blaster, and through the strap and through hitting it with this board right here, because you don't want to hit the cast directly, because if you smack it, you're going to crack it. We moved it, as you can see right here, the skid mark right there where my finger is where it started, and this is where it is now. So we moved it in quite a bit. What's that, probably an inch, maybe an inch and 1/8 or so. And it's got to go a little bit more, so we're going to keep smacking it, but it's starting to see. It's starting to pull up there. I'm not seeing any cracking in here yet on that, so it's the repair is holding thus far, and we've almost got it seated where it needs to be. Once we've got it seated, we'll pull it up tight. Let's sit for a while, and then what we're going to have to do is back these bolts off one at a time, because they need lock washers. The lock washers that were with it were bad, so we'll back one off, we'll put a lock washer on it, tighten it back up till it locks, and then do the other one. And these really should be switched out, but remember, we got the parts. We've got the parts F600 coming, so once we do that, we can get those parts off and conditioned. We'll do a full swap out for this, just to make it good. But in the meantime, this repair will work just fine, I believe, and we'll keep going. So there you go. All right, we'll be back with more. All right, so there we go. Tightened up as far as I can get it with lock washers on it. I mean, it's not as engaged as it was, but it's plenty engaged. I might put a torque wrench on it to torque it a little bit to see if it'll go any tighter, but I'm not sure that it will. I mean, it's seated completely up against it. It's still a little bit out. Could use to go in a little bit more, but we're going to go ahead and drive it like that. See what happens. Of course, we got the extra parts coming, but I'm going to wrap this video up here. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching it. I did have to go back twice to get the right size washers because I pulled them out of the wrong bin. But, you know, that's all part of it. Anyways, but we got the shackle done. The saddle for the shackle all on it. The next thing we're going to go to is we're going to attack this seal right here. So we're going to jack this up, and we'll be pulling those wheels off, pulling the drum and the axle out, and seeing if we can't find those seals. So again, we appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you real soon on the next video for Big Bertha.